One thing I can never understand is when people who don't like you or they hate you, but they watch your channel. It's weird. You know, it's like if you don't like a person, why are you on their channel? It doesn't make any sense to me. And somebody was telling me it's like a weird emotion of like jealousy, envy, a sense of if they watch you, they think they have a power of control or something. I find that weird, you know. I'm nobody special, you know, just an average Joe trying to survive in a very precarious situation, you know, in a situation that would break most people. I feel like a lot of us are in the storm of what we call life. And there's so many battles and so many wars that we have to face. It's like a city of swords, but each sword has its own elemental poison, you know? Like you have a fire sword, ice sword, a sword made of thunder, a rock sword, a wind sword, a void sword, you know? And each one of these swords, they cut into you and they dig into you and they slash into you and they make you bleed, you know? And you got to keep going as a soldier, it seems. So many times where this world can do right, but it does evil and it does good. So many times you have multiple things that can go wrong that go wrong. Economic instability is number one. Mental instability also affects that as well. A lot of people haven't really felt true, raw, real depression. Because if they have, they'll feel a lot more sympathy and empathy. And some of the most wickedest, evil, vile, sick, twisted people, they claim one religious denotation, you know, but then their actions show other. And it just goes to show you that most people are just evil. They wear a mask in public, but then they want to be able to kind of attack you, you know. They want to be able to try to have power over people who they think they're better than or superior over. And that just shows you how this world is, where there's bullies and then there's those that get bullied. It's the weak and the strong. And if you're somebody that minds their business and doesn't bother anybody, they consider that a sign of weakness, a sign of that they can do gratuitous things to, that they can attack and they can try to, I don't know, you know, try to just do whatever type of evils. Have you ever been at a random place and that one cashier looks at you a certain way, or you can tell this certain place is treating you a certain way, where you feel like, what the hell? Like you was in line and the person in front of you gets, you know, talked to with some sense and respect and sensibilities. Then when you come up to the line, all of a sudden the female cashier may frown, or her whole attitude and her whole energy and her whole synergy changes. And you're like, what the hell? I truly believe there's some entities that feed off our negative energies, and there's billions of them, if not trillions of them, and each one of us get assigned a few of them, you know, because if you guys know anything about, you know, evil, it can assign, or it feels like it can assign like these parasites in your mind, and these parasites, they control your emotions, they control your thoughts, they control your feelings, they even control, you know, people around you. You know, people's behavior towards you is a self-reflection of themselves. When somebody gets consumed and obsessed with you in a negative connotation, a negative association, and we live in a world where there's billions of people, and yet they want to focus on you. it makes you think, is this coming from this person specifically, or is it coming from something else? Because you're waking up to the world and you're seeing how the world really is. You're seeing how cruel, how wicked, how the sins of the evil is pretty much embedded and integrated into this world. You can be a good person all you want, but the world's just going to swallow you alive. I was watching Lord from Africa. He was saying some real shit as usual. Like he says real shit. I watch all his videos. And he was just saying that, you're going to have to be thinking about self in this world, self-preservation. And that's smart and that's wise because that's what the animals in nature do. You think the lion really wants to just go down and hunt every single day? It's forced to because it has these systems inside the flesh, like I believe we're spirit beings, but we're trapped inside this flesh body as a prison, as a form of torment, as a form of punishment. We get hungry, we need to eat, but you need money to eat. You get thirsty, you need to drink, but you need money to drink. You get cold, but you need a home, but you gotta have money to have a home and have and things of this nature. And all these systematic prisons that are implemented in place, the almighty powerful being, could have made things where you don't have to eat, you don't have to sleep, you don't have to be weak, and you don't have to be trapped in the thunder and the rumble of defeat. But doesn't it seem like these are restrictions put in place? Aren't we eternal souls? And yet a thing like money can control our whole destiny and is used as a weaponry and is used as a form of systematic oppression. Those who have it and those who have not. You have the haves and the have-nots. You have the different classes of people, And then you add in the racial factor, shit really gets messy and complicated. It's very interesting how this world is and how people just obey. We're due for a revolution in this world, point blank period. We're due for some type of uprising, like the French Revolution or like, one of those great battles in World War II. Like the battle, was it called? The Battle of Guadalcanal, is that what it was called? When they did I think the United States Navy did the island hopping campaign where they would go to different islands where the Japanese were at and then engage in combat with their military forces and aircraft carriers and all that. Japan used to be a formidable nation on the battlefield. Japan was scary in World War II. If you know about the city of Nanking, if you know about Unit 731 and all these other things. If you look at the history of the world, man, it's filled with barbarity and gratuitous actions and warfare. The world has a history of being violent. The world has a history of shedding all types of blood. The world has a history of constant warfare and constant engagement. So when I talk about Stalingrad a lot, it's kind of like a metaphor for life in general. Right now I'm in a sci-fi Stalingrad, and I say sci-fi because we're in the future now. And if a Stalingrad situation takes place, the power goes out, the lights are gone, the food is gone, all the electricity is gone, and the zombie apocalypse takes place. It's going to look like one of those one of those World War II battles where it's just chaos, total chaos. I believe that there's some entities that feed on humans fighting with one another, attacking with one another, and they jump inside certain people, and they become like mental psychic parasites, and they make people do evil things. They influence their mind, thoughts, actions, and life trajectories. There's a reason why some of us who are talented, philosophical, who see the world a certain way, but yet we struggle with economics. And then there's people that don't think half the way how we think, and they have no problem with becoming successful multimillionaires or becoming successful in their dreams and ambitions. Are people like me and others who are deep thinkers, and we really look at the world in a certain way. We're surrounded by people who feed off negative emotions, who feed off negative reactions, who feed off they just feed off negativity. Like their whole life is surrounded by negativity. Their whole life is gossip. Their whole life is like that. And you don't want to be around people or beings or entities like that. You don't want to be at that toxic place where, your boss or your coworkers or whoever is always trying to target you or trying to do this, like this is not conducive to spiritual growth and development. Look how I'm talking. The people who go against me, do they talk like this? Do they want to spread peace, love, and positivity, or they want to continue gossiping and causing problems? And then you got people who have nothing else better to do, it seems, but to hyperfixate on somebody they never met in their life. It's weird. Like, what is it about me that people want to hyperfixate on and try to attack, try to be negative towards? Being doxxed, being kicked out of how can something on the internet affect my real life? You know what I mean? Like, it's weird to me, but it affects it in a negative connotation and association. But when I had a channel doing 700 freestyles, none of those ever got to Taz Taylor. None of those ever got to Nick Mara. Even my channel, when I was coming up, how come my channel wasn't sent to people who could be like, dang, this guy's in a messed up position, and he's good at music, or he's good at this. Let me help this guy out. The same thing Nick Mara did with Juice WRLD. Juice WRLD had maybe a couple hundred followers on SoundCloud, and then Nick Mara found him, and pretty much helped turn him up. And that's how we got Juice WRLD. You look at the whole story behind that. And I'm just thinking to myself, isn't it crazy how somebody can lose everything? You lose your grandmother, you lose your family members, you lose your sanity, you lose in a cold calamity. And you finally build something up that you wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting to get thousands and thousands of subscribers and hundreds and thousands of views. And, I think those view impressions or whatever, like your video just shows up on people's feed. They don't necessarily click on it, but it just shows up. I think I had a few million of those impressions, the views and those. I wasn't expecting on that. I wasn't expecting people to connect with me and feel me and like my videos. I was just as shocked as you guys were. You know what I mean? I'm still shocked now, even with this small little channel. I wasn't expecting any of this, but I really wasn't expecting people to lock on to me and fixate on me and try to target me. Out of everybody that makes these type of videos, I'm not the only one that makes videos of self-reflection on philosophy, on the way the world is, and just, speaking my mind in certain things. And also, how do, family members, friends find my channel? How did that happen? Is it because I showed my face? Was it my voice? How did my voice reach that far? Just talking on the phone, and I reached that far, but I couldn't reach Taz Taylor, who could have heard my beats, could have heard my music, and tried to give me a position to join internet money. That would have changed my whole fucking life. But instead, my voice destroyed my life. So I was thinking to myself earlier, if my voice is powerful enough to attract people, even haters, because when somebody's this infatuated the way they are with me, there's something about me, about my voice. They can say they hate me and all that, but if you really hated me, you wouldn't be watching my channel. You wouldn't be, spending 10 minutes of your life or whatever, listening and seeing what I'm talking about and trying to just do weird things. It's weird. I don't know what it is, man. I just wanted to just express myself. That's it. But I attracted the wrong crowd with that name, Black Pill Villain. I had no idea what that really meant. That you attract trolls, you attract people that are all in a patrol. They're listening to every single word you're saying. Then they try to act, whether it's in real life, whether it's online. They're listening to you. They're monitoring you, and it gives them a sense of superiority. It gives them a sense of control. But they'll never come on here and make videos, like I do. This is just a form of venting for me. That's it. I'm not doing anything malicious. I'm not doing anything sadistic. I'm not doing anything twisted. I'm doing what millions of others are doing. Just picking up a microphone or picking up a camera or picking up their phone or whatever and just recording and just talking about their thoughts. That's it. And I'm way more tame now than I was. But it's just weird to me, like, who are these people? And what does that say about their lives and their ambitions and dreams? I still got fire inside of me. I haven't given up on my dreams despite everything I've been through, despite being homeless. You know, I don't know where I'm going to be, well, I have a kind of an idea, and that's the streets. You know what I mean? But I know that I'm good at my certain talents. I know I'm pretty good at rapping, pretty good at making my little music, and I don't want to ever let that stop. I don't care how old I get. I don't care if I'm an old man with a cane. This is what I love to do. This is what brings me joy. I like making videos and stuff. Like, at first it was just like whatever. I make a video every now and then, whatever. But now it's like it's pretty cool to make videos and be consistent and consistent and persistent and have that resilience. Despite everything falling around me, I'm still going to create. Then it points a light on other people where it's like, if this guy can get kicked out, doxxed, dealing with a toxic living situation with toxic people who just want to cause problems and drama, in the world today, dealing with online trolls who try to get your name and try to get your mom's name, and well, they got it. You know what I mean? And they got they pretended to be you, which is illegal, and then threaten your stepdad or threaten your mom's husband, and he gets quote unquote scared. But really, that wasn't the thing. He always had something against me. Like, he always wanted me out, but he just needed a valid reason. So so when those people impersonated me, and they had all that quote unquote information, because I was pretty transparent on my channel about what was going on in my life, then they use that information against you, and they just dig into your life, and then they sit, and the same people who did that are watching my channel right now, listening right now. It's like, why is that allowed to happen? Why is there no God defending me? And I was having a conversation with somebody. I won't say who, but they were just telling me how they feel like God is punishing them because of all the pain and all the loss they've been going through recently. And I'll just throw this idea out there. What if what we're told about reality is not really reality? What if something is purposely feeding on our negative emotions, meaning it's orchestrating events that are negative, the snap and the EBT closing down, and putting certain political powers in motion and fomentation. And it feeds off of this. It feeds off of us attacking each other. It feeds off of the negativity. It feeds off this violent, unvirtuous world. It feeds off of people going to war with each other. It feeds on this chaotic environment we all find ourselves in. Being homeless and homelessness is no joke, but when you don't have supportive people and you have people that absolutely hate you, there's nothing you can do about it but just keep going on. I just hope that, a lot of us are successful after we go through this turmoil and we get stabilized economically and stabilized in a situation where we can actually thrive. But we got to keep on going on and keep on managing and keep on just trying to build something with our talents and attributes we do have. But you have to be around supportive people and supportive environments. If not, you're going to struggle, point blank, period. I always thought when I was younger, man, that I was going to make it. And people told me, even to this day, from time to time, I remember about a year and a half ago, somebody told one of my old friends, was like, bro, I can't believe you still not, popping, bro. It's like, do you have a YouTube? Do you have a SoundCloud or something? It's like, bro, all you need is the right person to hear you, the right person to give you a chance. And I guarantee you're going to take off. You're going to, somebody's going to light that ember, light that spark, and you're going to take off. It's like, bro, you already have the talent. You just need to be around a team or somebody who can actually put you in position, because it's very hard out there to get noticed when you're just by yourself, as you can see. But notice how this world is always bent on evil. Notice how it would, like, these haters, these trolls, and random people online can find your channel and fixate on you. But the good people can't, good people that can change your life can't just find your channel and be like, hey, bro, I can help this guy out. This guy is good. Let me, woo. Hey, bro, let's meet up, woo, or something like that. Your whole life goes from a different route. But yet, these people, they hate me, but it's like, why are you on my channel? Why are you listening to everything I say? Why? What do you get out of it? There's people listening to my channel now that I wish they would have never, ever, ever found my channel. Because all they bring is negative energetic manifestational frequencies. And I was never here for that. I never knew that this channel would become successful. I never knew it. I never knew I'd be monetized within a year of starting a channel, you know what I mean? That went from 0 to a few thousand. But at the time, I didn't have my damn ID, so I couldn't get no money from it. But even then, people supported me, you know? And now I need more support than ever, facing homelessness. So I'm thinking about starting a Patreon or GoFundMe or something like that, because I need some bread too, and I need to try to get my own place, you know, point blank period. So that way I can be able to fully create and fully innovate in my endeavors and truly try to build something from nothing. I don't have any help. I don't have any connections. I don't even have any family, really, you know, except my mom's, you know. And, you know, it's very difficult getting kicked out of a place where I did nothing wrong. I never got on here and lied. All I did was tell the truth. And sometimes to liars, the truth can be the greatest type of poison, which is crazy, because truth is supposed to set you free, not enslave you. You know, this world, man, is never going to be healed and never be fixed if we don't try to come together. But there's some people that just don't care about that. They just care about destruction and corruption and other types of seductions. I don't know what to say, man, but I hope we all find ourselves in this world, in this deadly, heavy battle that we have to face every single day. And you would think people of a certain age would be more mature spiritually and have more spiritual growth and development, but that's not always the case. This world is absolutely brutal, man.